Okay, guys, I want to make a video, and this is gonna sound really mean and heartless until you meet enough Lokeans, and then you'll understand exactly what I'm talking about. And they don't even have to be Lokeans, they're just people like us on the planet, to be clear. But every so often, you're gonna meet someone that's following Loki, and we've brought this topic up before, but life happens. And because Loki has not made their life impossibly awesome, it's your fault and they want you to fix it. And they will keep asking you, why is Loki not fixing this? Why is Loki not fixing this? And instead of saying what you want to say, because YouTube won't let us say it anymore, something about getting off your can and fixing it yourself, you end up, going crazy. Well, don't go crazy. Learn the block function. It's there on almost every social media site. Keep learning it if the person keeps persisting on following you and being all stalkery. And realize that, there's always going to be a subset in every population that they don't want to solve their problems. They really don't. They want them solved for them. But they really don't want the problem solved, if that makes sense. It's kind of like you don't know you've hit bottom and you have to recover as an alcoholic until you've hit bottom. Everybody's bottom's different. They have to actually truly hit bottom before they're going to change. And some people don't. As one man said, you can hit bottom, start digging a hole. And some people got to do that. And they got to really, really, really make themselves absolutely miserable and screw up their life, totally screw up their life. And I speak from experience until they'll get help. In a case of don't do as I did, I went through periods of my life where I really screwed up my life, and guess whose fault it was? Mine. No one else's. It was not the fault of the people that I was letting agitate me into certain behaviors. It was not the fault of this. It was not the fault of that. It was my fault. As you guys know, I've had problems with alcohol, so I no longer drink. I've had problems with pain medication, so I no longer take pain medication. I mean, I'll take Tylenol, but I don't take, steroids, because I got put on steroids for pain for fibromyalgia and that, and after a while, even though I was amazingly pain-free and I could move like a ballet dancer, they're like, no, those are going to kill you, so they take you off of them, and then once they take you off of them, the pain all comes rushing back in, and you have to learn other ways to cope. And, for the first years or so, it is torture. It's like, oh my God, please. You will be out on the street looking at drug dealers like, they got steroids. And it's nothing to be proud of. So don't drink, kids, and don't do drugs, and don't abuse painkillers, because it's not cool. I bring this up because, we're living in a world now where people will say, well, opioids, which are painkillers, are a crisis, but no one will do anything about it. Because you kind of have to have been there, done that, to understand what it's like. It's like any other addiction. First it was fun, and then it was no longer fun. And then you're screaming to get off. Or it might still be fun, and somebody, in a case of opioids, someone rips you abruptly off the ride, and then you are running around screaming in circles because your body's going nuts, so it's not fun. You can learn different techniques to deal with pain, whether it's emotional or physical. And Loki, as much as it's going to hurt, as much as you're going to call him names that I can no longer say, floof you, YouTube, it's going to hurt, but you're going to have to do the healing work yourself. It's not him being cruel, it's just, the nature of the beast. Now, I know we've all heard stories about, the gods having these ancient temples, and people would go there, and they would pay 3 cakes, I believe it was, in the case of one Greek god, to get into his temple to go for healing. And then the priest would do what they did, and then the person would hopefully have a dream. No, not everyone got healed. That was one thing. And the other thing with the healing was, we don't know why healing worked back then and does not work the same way now. One, it could be exaggeration. It could be. 2, it could just be there's a huge difference between having a sacred site and having priest trained in the way of servicing and working for the god. And two, I'm not trying to pick on Christians, but I've noticed, for one thing, a lot of pagan gods, especially the Greek gods, they would go absolutely silent when Christians would enter the temple. For example, Apollo's oracle would have refused to talk. And if Christians entered other temples, it seemed like for whatever reason, the energy of their god, the gods would just go blip. So it might just be a little hard for them to pinpoint you and do the healing. And it might be a little hard for them too to bring us to a place of healing, because whether we like it or not, we've grown up in the big three culture. And it's kind of hard to have the same faith and mindset that our pagan ancestors had. In a way we do. You see surviving Catholicism where they would rip down temples to Apollo or his son, and they would put up healing saint temples. But, you know, it might also have been geographic location for all we know. There might have been certain healing properties in the water. There might have been, you know, people might have been suffering from hysterical blindness or something, and they were able to talk them through it. But we don't know. I'm not saying our gods don't heal, but I am saying, you know, with all this coming up about people seeming to have chronic problems they don't want to deal with, and drug addiction, everything coming up, we can turn to our gods for help, but in the here and now, for whatever reason, we have to do the bulk of the work. It is not like the old days. It's not like the stories where, you know, like you could put out 3 Twinkies or something, be really nice, go to bed, have a dream, be killed, be healed. Our gods aren't like that. Be healed, and, you know, all would be well. I mean, if that worked, if that ever worked for me, I would be the first person to make a video on it. But they can help us. It can still help us. They're still, you know, blessing and working with them and making that healing journey on her own. So I just kind of wanted to talk about that because, excuse me, I am drinking bay leaf tea, and it's the same thing because I put peppermint in it, and I always get hiccups and everything else when I drink it. I'm sorry. But I wasn't feeling too good, and it has healing properties. You can look them up because you might not be too fussed with me talking about them, but yes, it has healing properties. Kind of like taking something for a cold. It can help with cold symptoms and also helps with arthritis, pain, and that. Results, mileage will vary. Make sure you're not allergic, blah, blah, blah. But I kind of wanted to talk about that because it kind of, I had a dream from Apollo this morning about, basically I was kind of like a healer and kind of sneaking him into the hospital so that he could sign up and he could be a healer, which makes no sense at all. But it was kind of like, I guess Apollo was saying we've kind of like kicked the gods out of modern healing. Maybe. I don't know. I have no idea. But, you know, we kind of have kicked the gods out of modern healing, but at the same time, you know, we've advanced enough as humans that we do have to take our share of the responsibility as healers, because we can all be our own healer. You don't have to, you know, go bug someone you know is a healer. Everyone is a healer, just some people are a lot lazier at it than others. And, you know, take responsibility to heal ourselves. We might not be able to match the stories of the old days, probably not. But we can do our part, and we can make things as good as they possibly are. And we can learn then to deal with the problems that arise in our lives and deal with them with a lot more grace and hopefully keep our compassion and our sense of humor. Because we never want to become embittered and be like, why me? Well, why not you? Why not me? Why not anyone? So I hope that helped. I've been noticing a lot of people getting the on both channels. So I'm like, oh no, we're nipping this in the bud. We're not having this. So I hope that helped, because it is kind of timely that Apollo's here and all these national stories are coming up about our healing crisis and our healthcare crisis and everything else. And I usually don't get too political or too like current eventy, But, you know, that's one of the things that will stand the test of time. We always have to do our own healing and take it as far as we can. Work with the gods, but expect to do a lot of the work ourselves. Okay, if you guys like what you see, like, comment, subscribe, and I will see you later. Bye-bye.